Get the funniest thing about Animal Crossing having like the whole Wisp event is that you basically have to disobey your parents' orders to go to bed at like 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. Like, how many people got to be up when you're like 9 years old and you can only see Wisp, I think, like between 12 and 4. And I did. See, that's how you do it. Yeah. It's like, yeah, you have to like remember, like, I don't. Maybe they were like trying to make a thing out of it. Like, you could find the spooky ghost, and like you just ask your parents permission to be up at like 1 a.m. I remember I tried that once too. I was up for hours, like 1 a.m. at a time when my bedtime was like 10 p.m. This is like a rare time I was allowed to actually do this. And that was like the latest I was up for that point in time. And you know what? It was just a day that Wisp wasn't there too. You don't have any guarantee that you're gonna find Wisp. So I would just be on there looking for that. I should have pulled up like an Animal Crossing creepypasta before this stream, just because I just needed like a small, like relatively short OST. I'm probably not gonna stream terribly long today. Any moment now, I'm gonna have a package arrive. So I'm just gonna like drop the fucking stream on the ground and just go pick that up real fast after, like, once my phone alarm goes off or whatever. It's like a rare case I actually use the like text thing for notifications on arrival. And that's like my flip phone too. That's not like an email or an Android or whatever. My folks let me stay up as long as I want on Friday or Saturday, so I got to do things like that. I had 9 p.m. bedtime, except when Pokemon was on, and we would all watch it until 9:30. And then there was 10 p.m. for weekends. Remember, I had 30 minutes of game time a day. I think I maybe had an hour on weekends. I don't remember exactly. There's a lot of Animal Crossing crappy pastas too. I should have just pulled one up, but I just ran out of time. Where is my everything? Thursday or Wednesday, whatever day is today. I thought it would be funny to like just. I wanted to at least do a little bit. I'm probably not gonna do, like I said, too much. Oh god, it's this one, right? And then, like, actually run the game to make sure this is working. Okay. I am kind of at a weird point. The Animal Crossing creepypasta where you knock on Nook's door at night and he comes out in his pajamas. Okay, yeah, so I've told this story before, but I can tell this again because there's probably always like a different person watching. I don't know who the fuck you like lurkers are. But like somehow, sometimes people just kind of like appear and I don't know who they are, where they came from. But basically, I remember being on Animal the Crossing, like super cheats and stuff, right? Like the forums and whatever, where people are posting cheats. And there were some things like, yeah, you use your shovel to like get into Tom Nook's shop, even though after he's closed and he's like in his pajamas. I never got this to work. And there were other things like this. I don't remember all of the different ones, but I was like, all right, you know what? This is probably like Pokegods and shit, right? Like, this isn't real. Only like in the modern day where we know a lot more about Animal Crossing E Plus on the GameCube, that I found out that these things were things that happened, but were exclusive to that version of the game. So they weren't lying. It's just, I'm pretty sure the GS ball was a very similar boat. Like, you cannot get the GS ball in English, gold and silver, and crystal or whatever, or something like that. Like, there were these things that just did exist, but only in versions of Japanese copies. So I thought I was being lied to this whole time. Or there was stuff like you can enter, like, I mean, maybe it was you could still enter Rossetti's area, but I'm not sure. Is that a thing you can do in English GameCube? Yeah, the GS Ball was a Japanese only event. So weird. Crystal, yeah. So like things like that actually trip me up. Where we're so used to thinking like, okay, yeah, here's a guide where you like beat the Elite Four 600 times, and then you can like fight Mew 3, right? Even Faraway Island in GBA. Wait, what the fuck is Faraway Island? Was that sound maybe familiar? Is that like the Deoxys one or something? Like, I know there is an event where you can get Mew or Deoxys that is just not released in America. I can't remember too well. Guys, what am I? All right. I'm in a weird place with Gorbash right now. We might be entering the point where, like, content is starting to, like, get made. And I'm not going to be doing too much. It's Mew. This is the triangle one. Okay, yeah. I remember there was one code with the Eon tickets. Don't know if that was actually another, like, region-locked one. But yeah, I'm at a weird point here in Gorbash where the core is kind of coming together, and I just need to, like, start making stuff, and, like, I need to make guides so that Argel can, like, add animations and things, and, like, need to start blocking out maps and, like, putting things together. When the MacBook gets here, like, I'm going to be using that as a writing dedicated device, and that's going to be used for a lot of probably the, like, feeling out, just, like, turning off the internet and just writing shit that will be used to go in here. What I might do is I might hook up the MacBook to my router through Wi-Fi, but I might, like, just block it from talking to the internet. So that way I could still access my internal servers. I could still, like, grab the Git repo and all that. At least long enough until I could just utterly cripple Apple's DRM. Or not DRM. What is it? Telemetry. I just wanted a device that lasts for fucking ever on battery life and has a backlit keyboard so I can write in the dark and is still small and light and all that. So yeah, this is kind of getting to a weird point where, like, I just need to, like, start making up shit. I guess it doesn't hurt to kind of localize a bunch of skills and whatever from Tropic Claw 1. Like here, I've got Breath of Fire, Breath of Ice. I guess I could just, like, say, you know, like, duplicate Breath, Poison, Poition? Like, when I made these, it didn't really have, it didn't really have statuses. So, like, I could just go in, Poison status. And I need to do this now because when we start populating maps and stuff, we're going to have to say, like, okay, here's, like, the encounter tables for creatures. Here's, like, we can just put these here. We could just kind of slot in items. We can, like, say, okay, here, you get a funny reward if you do this little, like, mini side quest, whatever. Here's, like, a kobold who's pissed off, and you piss him off more, and then you get, I don't know, a piece of honey or something. Or, like, we might have, like, you use an item on a certain NPC, and they might have a special reaction to it. There's at least one or two I could think of that were in mind. That were like, I want to do something like that. It's like, oh, like, 0.25 chance for that. For poison or whatever. I believe it's a scale of 0 to 1. Use rock on enemy. Big rock, I think, is already in. I don't think it actually does anything besides damage, though. Like, where is it? Big rock. And, does it even have a description set up? Big rock, which is thrown when used as an item. Let's see if it actually, like, works. It should work like a shuriken, basically. Of course, they get an ambush on me. Okay, yeah, it actually is in here. You know, I don't think we have a status for So we have a coughing status. Oh wait, dazed I think is the one that is like what confusion was, I believe, in the original. Crop and claw, I think dazed would have been confusion, where I believe it prevents spell casting. Yeah, disables spells. Yeah, like there's all this like funny little stuff though we can do. Has delay immunity. I don't remember if that actually works. I think it does. What the hell is this? Oh, there's like a bug here that like I somehow started triggering and I don't remember where or how. Array int to array object. Somehow I'll have to like figure out something in the debug menu is doing that. And it's debug, so if it crashes runtime, I could be like, haha, I don't care. Wait, does Big Rock actually inflict dazed? Throw item. I have to like remember how a lot of this works too, because a lot of there are some weirdness. Item throw template. There's some weirdness to how a lot of this works. Combat act skill, I believe. Rock big. So like I could do stuff like because of meta values, right? Like I've mentioned this before. You got meta values down here. Hocus pocus, you are now bug free. God, I wish. So like I need combat act skill, and that's gonna be a resource. I could just dump this in here and ta-da, meta values. Meta values sure help me avoid a million billion inheritance or just having a lot of useless junk that gets cluttered in here. Combat act skill. I could throw item and then... I suppose in theory, like, what is a dictionary in this case? Like, is it just variant test? Okay, they are a variant. I could actually build out a status chance based on these. How does the healing items work? Maybe I didn't actually put them in? Heal skill. Standard heal? Oh. So one thing I could do, basically, a lot of the times, there's like some weird tricks that are done here. The skill template that it's like there's a thrown item template, which is kind of used as a base. And then the item itself kind of overrides certain aspects of it. So I do need to like actually quickly throw in a way where we can supply a status to a thrown item, and it will like just pass that onto the status table. We actually duplicate the template skill too, because if we change the original, then that causes a lot of wacky mutations, and it's impossible to find why weird bugs might be happening, since it's like predicated on something you might have done like 4 battles ago or something. And next thing you know, your skill has like 7 different statuses being applied. So like there, meta status? Status equals item get meta. I strongly advocate for meta values, even though it's actually kind of terrible. The way I could remove so much coupling and like strict code and just kind of deal with some of the occasional issues that come up, I'm all about trying to remove as much boilerplate as possible, because like that's like really what kills a lot of an RPG's infrastructure. It gets really bad. Crop and Claw 1 has such weird things going on because of certain things like that. Auto status, I could just say. So we could just say, like, you use it and it's going to guarantee something or whatever. I don't know. Honestly, we could just null it, too. Maybe actually, like, do a proper safety check, though. Equals null. Lazy copy. As meta. But yeah, it's like, I may have to, like, dip into the code occasionally to do, like, oh, wait, we need to, like, way pass this in real fast. But once I have it, I don't really have to worry that much. So, like, right here, right, I think it's morning, because this is actually one reason I upgraded to 4.5. I actually like that they highlight the lines better now. So, like, here, we can actually take the base template skill that it's taking from. In theory, I could actually bake the skill directly in too. I don't even actually have to do it this way. There's actually a lot of ways you can fuck with this. But for this, I could just take this throw template. And I could say, like, if meta status exists, basically, I could just do something like funny, like skills, status, table. I could apply the status, and I could guarantee it'll happen by just setting it to 1, or it should, in theory, be guaranteed. Because it's a scale of 0 to 1 as a float. And that's, like, where the percentage randomization is. And that way, it's like, when here, we just call the act, which actually has all the process that, like, it's like the meta programming aspect, where we compile the list of stuff that's going to happen in combat. And now I'm going to run it, and everything's going to break. And I'm going to look like the biggest jackass for just lying to everyone, basically. Wait, I didn't even actually do this correctly. Big Rock. Crash is going to be so proud of me. I don't actually need this. It's going to use the template skill. I do need auto status, though. Auto status, which is a... what's it called? Where's object, rather? Resource object. That's the same difference. Still ref counted, though. So I could take... okay, here, dazed status. Throw that in. I could actually do another thing here, too, where I do, assert... well, I guess we're gonna have an error anyways, because this will run into a compile error if we attempt to assign meta status and it's not a proper status. Because right now it's just a resource when you put it in here. These are not very type saved. That's like the one downside to this. Or one of the one downsides. There's actually a lot of one downsides to a lot of things I do. Big Rock. I forgot to actually put the Big Rock in and then actually keep it in my inventory. Big Rock. I have to get used to this control scheme too. Skip it all. In theory, this should... I throw, someone gets the day's status effect. And... oh, interesting. It's actually capped at only the enemy. So if he doesn't get dazed, I'm going to be upset. Why? Oh, well, he also fucking died, so... that did do, like, 1,000 damage for some reason. The math of the attack and defense is not actually figured out. Well, I need to, like, fight something, like, more. I do need to, like, apply a debug system that allows me to just load up any enemy immediately. That was one thing I did in Crop and Claw 1. Like, we actually had a menu you can open up and it would let you fight any enemy in the game. The problem with how 1 did is because 1, it was easy to do that because it was a one enemy game. So you could just pick an enemy and then fight it immediately. Here, there's molds and you have encounter tables to deal with and stuff like that. It's a lot more complicated. I wouldn't say even complicated. It's just there's more layers of things you have to worry about. Can I... maybe something... actually, let me reset, because I've already thrown the block, or the rock. Maybe I could actually fight something out here, which might have a, might actually have a higher defense or something. The golems might actually not be a bad... that's not a golem, that is a kangaroo. Kangaroo, sorry. The encounter table system's also kind of funny. semi-random. It has like a modifier, oops, to your grace steps with a like baseline grace steps depending on where you are. That's did I make the hard guys on the easy side? What is going on here? What are the tables right now? I probably do need to make it where I can just open like a debug menu up and see like what table and where I am in the slots and stuff. Okay, here we go. This guy should be able to handle it. I just want to see Dazed appear. Dazed, yeah, so there we go. It guarantees a Daze. The Kangaroots are so cute. Yeah, they kind of have only appeared in it occasionally, just whenever I was streaming or whatever. Most of the time you see the missing texture vipers or something. That did like 14 damage too. Wait, what? Why do I have a big rock? Oh, I think I need to set it so I can... I don't think it's actually... why did that one do so much damage? Oh, shit. I need to also, like, apply some funny statuses and stuff like that. Or sounds, not statuses. Honey works, so you get TP now. You can kind of see, like, the game is... You're starting to see, like, the things come together, I'd say. Like, we're at the point where you can kind of see there's a core of a game here. It's just not a game yet. KO the Kangaroot 3. I have to finish KO 3s eventually. God, that fucking game, I swear to God. It's so weird. I'm so glad Tuardo was streaming that day, so I had an excuse to just shut off the stream and do something else. Let's see, I need to, like, check my... I have to, like, keep... I think I just heard a door. Maybe my thing is finally here. That's not what I wanted. My favorite part of KO was when he died in a plane crash. That's everyone's favorite part. That was Radiant's. Like, Radiant already, like, clips everything I do. And that was, like, one of them. That was one of the things I've done. Oh, the tracking number's been locked out. Okay. The evil has been defeated. Tuardo's currently happily playing Pokemon's Legends Nif Adventure after dumping like 30 files in today's commit on me. Have fun. I immediately went to grab my controller as if I am doing anything. I have to think of how I'm going to split the demo and the common. Because funnily, common is the ROM where a lot of data goes. Like, shared data across the trilogy. Like I said, the plan is that common is distributed with all three like games between Crop and Claw 2, 3, and 1 remake. And then there's going to eventually be, if I can get it to work, a sort of glue code that you can also load in as a ROM, and that will be like the true lock-on technology, right? That's where we have like 4 or 5 Genesis cartridges of Crop and Claw sitting on top of each other. So that you have like one, maybe 25-hour RPG instead of 3 smaller ones. And then we could like have all the classes available at the start, and you could like play as whatever, and all the mercs or whatever. Like, that's why Gorbash took so long to make, right? Is because the Sega Tower of Power is the best game console. Yeah, that's like why Gorbash took me so long. Like, it basically took me about a year, I would say, because I was R&Ding what Gorbash was going to look like last year around this time. We're trying to figure out, like, what kind of game. That was, like, when it was still 2.5D or 3D or whatever. But I needed to be able to bend the way Godot handles loading and stuff so that I can make it like nice and dynamic. Like I say, I could go in here, load files, and like when I go in here, you could see like you can see which ROMs are loaded. They're basically just subdirectories, and they're automatically set to like go to certain directories of those subdirectories and stuff like that. And so like I needed to figure out how to do all of this and do it in a way that doesn't become a mess. Because I really wanted Gorbash to be... Like, the reason why I was okay with Gorbash taking forever to make was because I knew that we were making 3 games at once. And maybe a 4th game. We might make like a sort of roguelike or whatever. And like maybe at that point we'll like have Argel like enslave over making a bunch more sprites, and then that would be less of a plot part of the game and more just kind of its own thing where you can kind of fuck around with the mechanics and like all these different species and stuff. Because like we can do that the way that the infrastructure is set up. You could like combo jobs and species and just do all sorts of goofy stuff. Like that would be like a mechanical sandbox kind of roguelike. That would be not so much Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, I should make clear. I don't know though. That's way far off. I wanted to get 2, 1, R, and 3 probably in that order because I want 3 to be like you've got the entire world you can go through, and we need to do 1 remake so that 1 is compliant with the Gorbash framework. If we do all that, then like I think this is going to be fucking great as like a full game. Maybe the full game is kind of like what would eventually become the definitive. I want to see if I can actually make it so we can boot into what's it called? I want to see if we can make it where if you can like if Steam can be unloaded. Like if you can tell Steam the way you can tell it to connect to disconnect. Because if we could do that, I'm wondering if it's possible we can actually dynamically check if you have Crop and Claw 2, 1, 3. If you have them all, you would be able to like get achievements for those games instead of having to just accept that you won't have all achievements available for all games or whatever. This would be big on the RG handhelds though. If we get all this together, then like Crop and Claw is going to be a really good just retro gaming handheld portmaster game. Just squash FS all of that. You just have like a gigantic dragon adventure in your pocket. I need a list of like all the shit from Crop and Claw 1 though. Like just stuff that we used. What could wine be used? Maybe wine will like be a thing, and we'll have to localize it to grape juice so that we don't get banned from Nintendo. Or like turn sake into hot sauce. I have still never seen Yu-Gi-Oh! Proper. I've only seen it through Abridged. I think I mentioned this yesterday during Bug Game. Whoops, that's not where I want. I want to be in the database. I'm not used to this. I'm saying I have to be in the database. I'm not used to being in the database that much. It's like, this is like the point, right? Like I'm used to being the code. I'm used to like in building the infrastructure and coding and shit. I'm not used to actually saying no. It's actually like I have to actually start looking at this stuff more now. Like gear, items, armor. I could like do stuff like this. Weapons. Like this stuff is going to start getting worked on now. Like, we're going to actually have to start looking at the numbers. And, like, I do have to write some good, like, calculators, basically. And, like, damage automators and stuff like that. Because that's going to be useful for balancing. Like, Crop and Claw 1, we had very little tooling for balancing. And Argel basically had to LARP as a Dragon Quest 2 developer. And just had to, like, spend a week just figuring out balance right before launch. And that's why you'll get crit by creatures throwing things at you, and you just die. And that's why I'm like actually looking forward to having so much more tooling for this. We don't even have any custom UI, but like I've written stuff like, you can't see it here, but like project tools. Like I have some custom tools that will like just run static calculations for like every level or every spell slot or something, and it just spits it all out. And that's how we were kind of like testing out if the algorithms that Argel put together for things like that like worked the way I put them in. And it came into handy too because I was finding that the numbers were different, and so we were trying to go back and forth like, what the fuck did I do wrong? And once we got it right, it was like, okay, now I don't have to worry about that. That's pure math that sits in the background, and I don't have to worry about it. Like, XP and spell slots are good. We do need to work on the damage formulas a little bit. The CTB gauge, the per turn formula works. The ICV turn needs to be worked on a little bit. Doll is my favorite stat. Guys, I need to show this. I've shown this before, but I need to show it again. This is like one of my favorite stat effects, the way it works. I think I can... How do I do this? Free party. No, do I not have? I think I have not implemented like disabling skill costs so that I could just cast things freely. I do need to also implement something so we can force level ups very quickly. But like doll is like great because actually hang on. One of my favorite things is that one of the things we've implemented, as you've probably seen, is the fact that you could pick the color of your custom characters for mercs. I'm just going to talk about it because I can't find it in here. But you could do that. And part of that is that every character set has a color associated, which means we were able to map it to a color of a doll. So when you use the doll status effect, which is kind of like a Toad in a Final Fantasy game or whatever, like, you look like the colored doll that your character is supposed to be, as opposed to just one color, which is such a fun detail. I can't wait for someone to do a doll-only run. Events. Shit, what the fuck am I looking at? I don't care about any of this. I've already implemented the thing I did. Okay, so Dazed gets applied with that. I guess I could use coughing as... I do need to, like, figure out how we're going to implement stuff like status immunity. Like, I need to do that carefully, because honestly, we might just do it where we manually set it, and we just won't have that many status effects. But it's a little weird, because, like, we have a lot of status effects. The way statuses work is they're all kind of registered. It's not really like Pokemon. Pokemon, you have this thing where a majority of status effects are not statuses, they're just stat modifiers, and that works differently in this case. Crop and Claw 1 might have actually used that, I think. I think Crop and Claw 1 actually took from Pokemon's stat modifiers. You had like a modifier index, and it pointed to a table of multipliers, and I think we did something like that. Here, it's a little different. Like, the stat modifiers are way more varied. Like, you can see here. Like, we have just straight up, here's like the stat operation that you have, and then they can just set a stat to something. Like, Doll over here in theory should actually drop a lot of your like, we'll just drop your strength to like 10% of what it was, your stamina, your agility, technique. This fucking sucks to get hit by. Don't get hit by this. So, like, that just tends it. So that's just how much, like, more powerful some of these tools have gotten. And they really needed to be. Because Crop and Claw 1 was written as basically like a 6-month, let me get some hard questions out of the way. I'm not even sure why I'm looking at Atma. I don't need to look at Atma. Atma is fine. Atma does not need to happen. I think power op being none should skip the damage animation. Voodoo, that's what it's called. I forgot. God damn it. Guard. Skip. Voodoo. What? Oh, it still does 0 damage. Hey, what the fuck is this? No. Oh, because, right. Because, undefined. You got an undefined care set indicator. That's, they should have been 0. I don't know why they're not. I guess we'll just default, so out of bounds, get index 0. That's just here. Color is What kind of... Oh, care color. That's right. We'll just load that. Oh, wait. Okay, here. We'll just default. Okay. Color... If CS color undefined. Wait, whoops, not. No. Fuck. I just need to have a default so that... I guess it'll just be pink. Think that'll fix it. We should have a pink dull if I use it on them. Just kill them. Fuck it, I don't feel like doing the guarding. Huh? No, you're lying. You're actually lying. You liar. What are you lying about? What? Huh? Color if... not equals... Why are we 0? What did you do? What did you break? Whatever. I'll just mark that on the issue tracker. I don't care. Oh, that's because I'm a dumbass. That's what I'm doing wrong. Yeah, I straight up set that. Okay, hold on. Just change that. This should work. God, Wizard, why can't you go more? No. Okay, once you hit like 3 strikes, I stop caring. Once you hit 3 strikes, I stop caring. I'll deal with that one later. This is not a bug fixing stream. This is just looking over spells and like putting them in, skills, stuff like that. I do need to put in a regen. I don't think we have regen yet. Or no, we do. I think we have regen. Poison. Poison, dull, cough, dazed. I do always love the this should work, game crash, cool. Yeah, that's game development. I'm just like, I know I'm gonna say something and the opposite's gonna be true. Hex. Obviously, regen is just, opposite of poison, so I'm not worried about that. I don't feel like scripting too much. Like I said, this is not going to be a very long stream. I'm just kind of goofing off. So fire, like I've got 2 fire spells, for example. But I could do like water. And it's just spell water. Wow. We could, like, add some variants to this to give each of them their own little niches. Huh? Power formulas. What the hell? Yeah, we shouldn't be using the physical power for magic, I do believe. That sounds goofy and wrong. Maybe this is, like, old stuff. This was very old stuff. I had just put this in, like, very early in. It's like water. In theory, we could even like put in little stats effects and stuff. We do have to be weird about how we do spells because spells are a lot harder to get, right? In Crop and Claw, spells were also techniques. They were just kind of a flagged kind of technique. They are here too, but since you use spell slots instead of technique, they need to, like, justify their efforts. Sorry, says Crash. Do better. That's why I was like, you know what? Animal Crossing soundtrack today. It's just relaxed with the exception of all the fucking dogs barking around me. There's so many dogs outside. Everyone has to have a dog. I guess I should not call this like wildfire. I should just stick to like simple indicators like fire, fire 2. Oh, my magical indicator is gone. Oh, where is this? Bark, bark, wolf. Read new message. Thing delivered. I'll be right back. I have to go pick that up. Just switch this over just a tiny bit. Let me see if I can get a funny face. Let's go. Easy. He's sleep. You hope it's sleep. Look, it was just right there on the doorstep. Oh man, the Viper's really enjoying this song. Ding, 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 ding. See, this one is... Which one's this one? This one is 8 p.m. This is the one I remember hearing a lot as a kid, because like I said, I went to bed at 9, so 8 was usually right before bed. At least someone was playing. Man, I can't wait to implement Chaos Theory into this game. Chaos Theory's gotta be wild. It's already, like, unusably really bad in Crop and Claw 1. Water. Magic, magic. Having strong skills that are also low delay, but also higher, whatever, is also, like, a thing we can probably do. 0.75, whatever. Chaos, chaos. I can do anything. I'm in a fucking wheelchair. Wait, why am I making the stronger version weaker than the... I'm a dumbass. 2.5. Actually, I'm gonna, like, yeah, nudge that just a tad bit. 0.8. Just like all these bullshit numbers. Just like the Simpsons hit and run source code said, value fresh from my ass. 1.25. And yeah, it's just, I needed all these. I don't even really need to worry about the skills specifically. I just need to have, like, the skills referred to. Then we could just, like, follow back and, like, change them up later. But it's like, there's no placing for them right now. So it's like, I'm over here, like, I just need, like, a magic earth spell. Someone's gonna cast a magic earth spell. But if I just don't have them, it's like, annoying, because I have to, like, pause what I'm doing and set things up. So just having, like, the database allocated is useful. Oh, it's a good thing I changed all that, too, because now that's available there. I guess that's an advantage we could have for, like, fire spells. Oh, wait, no, that's right. Wildfire was going to be AoE. It's like the tier 2s might just be the same, but they're going to be AoE instead or something. You know what makes me sad with I like when things start cooling down and the fall comes along, but the cicadas have stopped. They're a lot quieter. The frogs aren't really barking as much. When the night gets a little quieter is actually a downside to the colder months. They're kind of just hiding off. Why is Atma still like level? That should be like level 4. Do I have a cap on the levels? I do not. I need to cap that. I just kind of like drop in here real fast. Wait, isn't it like... I think you could just use... range, was it? Yeah. 0 to... Oh god, what is it? Spell.max level. That should be fine, yeah. I actually have to start looking at clamping these, because like now, since I'm also changed with a lot of this, we're like, or things are getting like more static, like the processes are figured out, the architecture's all there. It may just be a matter of like we're gonna have to start like sealing all of this. Whoops. -1. Spell level 1 is actually like 0, and it goes all the way up to the top, so. Exercise. Right. So this was stuff. I think it... Oh, right. Skill, features, filter species. I actually did a lot more than I thought, right? Because, like, if you're of a category and you specify target species down here, then this actually can branch off even further, or, like, you can, like, change how powerful something is, or they can multiply it or whatever based on, like, what a... Basically, exercise does more damage to ghosts, as opposed to, like, Crop and Claw 1, where it actually just kills them. Kills, quote-unquote? Frees them? It was free soul in English. Resist, shield. Does this even have a status effect? This does not even have a status effect? So I do like make a status where status. If I've done my job correctly, then it's like I just go in here. I could just... Actually, I could just maybe generate one from scratch. It's fine. Status. I could say, like, shield for now and status, and then just, like, change it later if I need to. Shield. And I could say, like, okay, it's a physical resistance buff. Yeah, give and take. No fireflies. There's not a lot of fireflies these days. Even just a few years back, there were a lot of fireflies here when I visited in the summer, that August-September range. But nowadays, not really. Even like this, I feel like I saw like one that was kind of hanging around sometimes. Like 5-6 years ago, I was having fireflies get into my room. Like when I was in a different room here. So I could say like, okay, you just defense is doubled. Boom. And we're going to multiply. If I really wanted, I could make something strong by or weak depending on when you are in the game. Just having it do add. So I could have like hard numbers. And we just don't really need to add any special effects because it's just a status that does stat boosts. Combat animation key die. It's not death. Why is that the default? Playing a death when a status applied is probably not what I want to do. Do I have a shield icon yet? I still need to, like, remove the Final Fantasy IV logos that were icons we were using for a while. If I remove that, it would probably be a lot cleaner to sift through some of this. I'll just use a robe for now, maybe. Whatever. It's like RPG Maker, right? Like, you just look through the icons you have and just, like, use whatever. It's nearby. You don't want to, like, bother making new ones. persist after combat. I do need to do rituals again. Rituals need to be implemented at some point. Because remember, Crop and Claw 1, it's easy to... the game never really tells you this, but there are a few spells that you can use out of combat. Like Ritual Regen or the Elemental Shield spells like Ward. Those are all actually possible to cast out of combat, and it's a way to save a turn when you start. Especially just right before a boss. Mill, Incapacitate. This is all generally friendly. Is there... I believe there's a friendly flag, is there not? There should have been a friendly flag. Because, like, the way, like, skills work with AI is, if the AI considers a skill, you just mark a hint, basically, a friendly hint. And that will default whether or not the skill is going to target the player or the enemy. Because, like, obviously, if you're an enemy, the default should be to target your party only if a skill is actually friendly. These are all the defaults. I don't want to mess with those. Gorbash needs its own fallback resources in the database, but for the most part, Crop and Claw Common is where a lot of this stuff is supposed to go. Technique Bataram. I need to do Lockpick as a skill. Shout out to Radiant for chameleons. Because Lockpick is also just useful to have. Hell, you get a chameleon in your default party because Glist is chameleon. I guess I could just say, like, utility is it for now? Utility. Lockpick. Oh god, why did we undo? Utility. What letter does U start with? Huh? Oh, it's not showing up because there's nothing in that folder. Shield? Nope. Oh god. Lockpick. Oh, well, it is field too, so that's not even wrong. Bataram is just both combat and field, which is a little unique for it. Heck yeah, ugliest. Can't wait to actually get the next parts of Serial of When done. I've been slow on that. I'm gonna make the TP cost really fucking high. You're gonna buy the skeleton keys and you're gonna be happy. Glist already has like high TP because of her class and species combo. She just doesn't have any magic. No scope. Friendly hints, kind of irrelevant actually. None of this matters. Just might as well mark it 0. Zero it all out. Delay power, probably not going to be delaying. No, my inventory. Because of how the stuff is set up, we might be able to make it where you can upgrade your inventory now. I don't remember where the setup is, and I haven't like made item upgrade flags or anything yet. But you will be able to like have rewards that are kind of like Paper Mario, right? Where you just get, unlike Paper Mario, which is kind of big, you'll get like incremental upgrades. So they're kind of like what can split along rewards. Maybe like you get 2 extra inventory slots for this, 2 extra inventory slots for that, until you get like 20 or 25, 30 or whatever. Fun things like that. Like, I'd say a big thing about putting all the data stuff together like this is we want to make it where you can replay this game over and over and over again and kind of route things. Like, it should be a speed-runnable RPG if you really wanted to. So, like, making it so you have to, if you want to replay it that many times or whatever, and, like, find, new challenge routes or whatever, like, should I go out of my way and expand my inventory more, or should I keep it low because I'm trying to save time or whatever? Or am I doing a challenge run where minimum inventory and you only play as 4 Vine Vipers or something? One kobold versus the world. I feel like I can actually get away with hyping this stuff up now. Because now we have majority of the function working. So it's not like I can say, like, I don't know if we'll have this. It's, I know we already have this. And, like, the parts I don't have, pretty safe to, like, just go and do. Chest. I'll deal with that. 48 kobolds versus local Walmart. I could see that as a single image. And do you need to, like, get to writing the demo segment, though? And like I said, I needed to do a bunch of guides on how to, like, implement stuff and make stuff. Heal tech. I forgot about heal improv. Which is implied, like, the character doing it has no idea what they're doing. Would actually be a... I think it would be a physical tech skill, actually. Yeah, technique. Delay rank... You can have 3. This is something like Glist would probably end up getting. Where she has, like, no idea what she's doing. She, like, just kind of ties a knot around your leg and calls it a day. Just so your leg doesn't fall off. You don't need to resist healing. I do need to make it so that I make sure if there's a resist formula that's none, that it skips damage. At least if both are none. Currently that seems to happen. That's why Doll shows with, like, 0 damage before it applies the status effect. Menu target on field. Yeah, improv heal, that's fine. God, we're gonna have to, like, test every single one of these too. Heal tech. What other categories are there that I need to think of? Wasted, like sway. Oh, I forgot that it's part of... Oh, it doesn't currently actually play any sounds. I do need to, like, set up maybe a global combat sound processor or something so we can play sounds arbitrarily without, like, having to go and make animations. In one, it was just a series of playing different animations in chunks over and over again. Can I do, like, a... I guess reflect as a keyword for now. Like, reflect, and it's just a magic version of shield. And it doesn't do damage to people, because why would it do damage to people? It's a friendly status. Don't do that. Oh, that's the skill I'm actually working with right now. Friendly flag. Did I? Okay, this also needs to be friendly. Level 0. I do need to, like, make more bug arbora too. Cicadas were 1. There's, like, a list somewhere I have of, like, a few concepts that we can run with to add new creatures. There's a few I want to talk about, too. It's just I don't want to because it's, like, a case of, like, that's something I think it'll be funnier if they find out on their own. I have confirmed we have a Hydra-type thing coming up, but haven't, like, actually discussed it publicly yet. Won't be anything big, mind you. It'll just be funny. No element. Delay power. Don't need to delay. I need to keep in mind, too, like, delay is really fucking good in the CTB system. So, like, having a delay, like, should probably give you a higher TP cost or, like, a higher spell slot cost, depending on what you're doing. Like, I could just make, like, a status effect that's just fuck up enemy, and it's, like, a level 3 spell that just AoE delays. Like, that'd be really powerful, actually. Unless, of course, they're immune to delay, which you're kind of screwed. Oh, this is what I was looking for. Right. Status effects. Shield. Reflect. Probably rename that, though. Reflect is kind of a poisoned word these days. In Final Fantasy's earliest games, it worked as kind of what I'm doing, where it's just it resisted magic, but in Crop and Claw 2, it's more like or in Final Fantasy 4 onwards, it was more like you just reflected the spell back at the caster or a random enemy, which isn't really the case here. Do I want to double magic resist? Maybe just to make it parity. It might be not as good though. It might be too good. I don't know. Oh no, it's actually really fucking... It needs to be actually toned down a little bit, because that's the gimmick about strength and stamina. Strength attacks stamina. Magic attacks magic. And then technique attacks either stamina or magic, depending on what you're using. So a magic shield is actually really fucking powerful. In fact, it might not even be called reflect at that point. It may just have to be like a buff that affects magic. There are other workarounds, I'm sure, that could make it where it only applies on defense, but I kind of don't want to do that. Keeping the stats kind of consistent with how they work would be nice. I could do something like resilience. For like delays avoidance. God, how do you spell resilience? A-E... Who invented this word? It changes every time I look at it. I'm just going to go with E, and if someone tells me I'm dumb, I'm going to make fun of them. Resilience. So something like this, I could just say, like, yeah, it has delay immunity. It doesn't need to be anything powerful, really. And, like, bosses and stuff might have that. Actually, there needs to be a spell that, you know, makes status effects useless against bosses so that, you know, you can't have fun. You want to use a status effect on boss and show your mastery of the skill system? No, it doesn't do anything. I remember that being a thing with Final Fantasy X that I liked, was that, you know, there were a lot of status effects that worked on some bosses. It just contributes to the puzzle nature of it. Being able to resist that too. Maybe I need to like also consider equipment where there's an auto status, and maybe when combat starts I apply that automatically silently every time or something. That way I can just ensure that that just kind of works. It won't be like all the time or anything, I don't think. Zones? Nope. Don't want to focus on that right now. Entities? Wait, oops, I fell out of the database. Jobs, don't want to mess with jobs right now. I should probably put a thief in, though. Glist currently is like a monk, I think, because monk actually has a modifier to its way of working here, where it does actually have a different unarmed strike damage formula, I believe. So there are some ways I've been able to, like, let you override formulas per jobs or whatever, which might be interesting. Dragon fruit freezed. Honey, I don't want it to heal. There was something... Alright, I wanted honey to remove poison, I think. So that way it's like you get a little... You don't get as much TP, but you get poison. I guess that's also, funnily enough, not that far off from Bug Snacks, which it's not Bug Snacks, it's Bug Fables. I don't know why I keep trying to mix those two games up. They are completely different games. Status, what is the... Oh, right. I have to, like... Item healer, I think. Cleanse status, yes. I don't need any of that right now. So cleanse status is a resource, and if you have poison, it should go away. Honey is good for you. Drink your honey. Status. Let's poison someone. And do I have honey? I should have. I believe like honey is like one of the last few things I take. Okay, I have honey. So in theory, I should be able to remove poison. Honey? I'm like looking angrily at Radiant. Oh. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I see. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, I'm a dumbass. This is what I mean by I wish that, or with this stuff, you can actually make it not this, but... Or like, what am I trying to say? Honey. I could probably just say, like, if it's... You know what? Hold on. Make this just a little more resilient. No, I want this to be consistent. I don't want to get too wild with this. It is cleanse status is plural, so... Where's array? Here we go. This way, at least, like, you can go in and you can actually change, like, what you... You can actually have more statuses heal, right? Oh, you have to set the type. Object. Poison. That should be... Okay, that's registered correctly. No. Let me... No. Huh? Oh, God, right. Weird UI. This should work. Poison. Let's poison everyone. It's funnier that way. Whoops. See what I mean, though? Get your debug tools right, and you could just quickly test so much. Drink honey. Got it. Works for me. This should cure my poison. Yeah, okay, there we go. I think one thing we also have to look at is the formula for how damage with poison works. Yeah, like, there we go. So the way it works in both Final Fantasy X and this is it doesn't, like, damage a fixed amount per turn, because faster characters would get fucking wrecked by that. But it does damage based, like, per ticks that have passed since the character's last turn. So, like, if you have a slow character, they take less damage, or they take damage less often, but when they do take damage, they take more, because more ticks have elapsed since their last turn. This is what I mean by, like, I like the CTB system. It puts so much information in front of you that it turns combat into, like, how do I not destroy this? It gives you a lot of agency over, like, what you can do based on, like, what you have. Like, the knowledge of it, it turns it from high abstraction of what the combat state actually is to just kind of, I have these pieces now, what can I do with them? If we do bosses right, if we do our boss fights right, I think that there will be some very good boss fights in this. Oh yeah, I like that we can also, like, change colors and stuff. I really do think that there's a lot of potential because of how much stuff there's. Oh right, the power scaling is used to... So I can make, like, a stronger poison if I wanted to. Like, toxins basically was... Toxins was, like, a nastier poison that could happen in Crop and Claw 1. Where it's like, okay, now we have, like, a stronger damage scaling. And I think we could reduce or raise the priority, which will let you, it kind of handled some things, like how things resolve in what order, and it also resolved, like, what is it, like, the order that statuses get, killed if you remove them. So I could do fun things like that. I have to think too of like what kind of stuff are we gonna be needing in the demo particular. Not all of this might actually show up in the demo. But since this is, the Crop and Claw common, I do need to worry about some of that stuff. Relics gold. Ruby, sapphire. Gemstones that just do, they stick them in the relic lock. Wolf. I cannot stand dogs, I swear to God. It's only been an hour I've been streaming. It feels longer. Or shorter or something. I must say I might just end around the 2-hour mark or something. Like I said, it's a relatively, if anything, it's kind of me going through and saying look, Gorbash is kind of there in terms of stuff making now. I'm kind of also reminding myself what I can do. And that way it's once content mill really begins, we'll probably start to see things go a lot faster. Like I said, if we could release the demo before the end of the year. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but it would be nice. Oh, this is one reason why I needed to get these basic skills into. Because all of the orbs just have fire. Earth skill. Water skill. Just not getting stuck in the inheritance mess with resources is really nice. Just having a general idea of I can just put this together and maybe a few metal values and it'll kind of just work as long as you know what you're doing. I do have to write so many guides on how to work with Gorbash. It's not an easy framework. It's very difficult if you don't know what the expectations of it are. But I think if I open source it, then people will be trying to figure it out anyways. And if I just leave it as an as-is thing, it's look, it's not my responsibility. If it deletes your hard drive, then... can you show this to me so I can get the rest of these in? Earth is in. Metal. Metal is funny because it's the one that reacts based on how much metal you have. I'd have to think of how this works here, actually. Metal. Spell? Yeah, spell. 0. No TP. I want it so it... I'll just leave that for now. Delay power. No delay, please. I have to remember how it worked with... I'm trying to think now. I have to go back to how metal... Obviously it was the higher your metal... Oh, no, it was mostly based on equipment, right? If you just equip more metallic stuff, they would increase your metal offense as well as reduce your metal defense. And that wasn't a rule, that was just how stats were handled, right? So I don't actually have to worry about metal as a skill too much. Wood. And that's just wood. Alright, where are the balls? Where did I put those? There they are. It is kind of nice to start to see the fruits of Gorbash coming together, though. I think I started really working on Gorbash's codebase, as it is in this iteration, somewhere around February. There were 2 iterations before that was done mostly between August and January. But I think if you look back at the logs, it was around the start of January that things really kicked off. They were February. Funnily enough, it was around the time that I started looking at these handhelds. So Crop and Claw was kind of 2. Once I found out you can run Godot games on these and that they were going to become easier at the time, I was yeah, I'm going to actually build with that in mind. I think I do need to fix the audio systems still. I think it's if you are not max, then you can't hear anything for a certain channel. That's decibel bullshit and math and stuff. That's not really a big deal. Like, I just have to sit down and actually do it. What kind of items would a place have? Should I, like, give them kobold claws or something? Kobold feathers. Kobold skeleton. Actually do need a kobold dagger in a sense. Shaman might actually have some use for kobold stuff. Like, Shaman is like a... I might end up making a character so that the class has a rep in the main party. But, like, Shaman was like our take on Summoner. But instead of summoning as like a basic attack or anything too complex like 7 or 10 or whatever, you may just have some equipment which has an associated like thing that requires like shaman basically, and the skill to use those items work differently depending on if it's a shaman or not. Like, yeah, I might have a dagger that is just a dagger to an average character that equips it, but if a summoner equips it, then there's like a magical property to it. So like you like, that was kind of like, it was like channeling the wielder of an old weapon or old armor or whatever, or like kind of fun things like that. I thought it was like an interesting way so that you might be able to get use out of a summoner equipment even if you're not a summoner, or you don't have a summoner in your like live party, but it has like a particular purpose it's good for. It's things like that that leave the door open to all sorts of weird experimentation. Kobold's greatsword is a short sword. He has like Bilbo in The Hobbit, where he just like picks up a little toothpick and is like, yeah, well, I'm short, so this is basically like a spear. I need to make some people watch the Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings. That movie is so surreal. If you watch like the first 10 minutes and then skip to the last 10 minutes, you feel like you're watching a completely different movie. It's surreal. But I mentioned before, I love the Rankin Bass Topcraft Hobbit and Return of the King. It is also like the best adaptation of Hobbit in terms of any movie. It's so comfy. And there's like some comfy little songs and stuff. A lot based on Tolkien's own work too. There's something too which a lot of, because of like the Jackson trilogy and stuff, it's easy for people to get used to elves as these like stoic, no fun creatures. But they're, in the books, they're kind of more like jovial. Like, there's a characteristic of jauntiness and partiness. It kind of gets lost a bit. Pesticide, I forgot this is a thing. Target species, I don't remember what this does. I think it only, I think by default, target species only gets affected by the skill effects. Pesticide is like one that deliberately attacks Arbora. Does physical technique damage against magical technique damage. Or defense. Oh, and it has a... I forgot the part where it actually poisons all Arbora. Holy shit, that's really good. Oh, right. I actually have a shop where you can buy this. I know where it is, too. It's actually a secret shop. There is an event that's not working in that room, though, and I need to fix it at some point. Breath, fire, ice, poison, smoke. I should try out chromatic breath, too. Because now that we have care sets and we can, like... I should see if I can make a breath that will have different effects based on just what kind of color you are. Colors are kind of vague on how they affect things. Like, Wind has ice breath because blue. That is a more complicated ability, though, so I want to, like... I'm going to have to, like, write specific code for that. Chainmail. You know, let's make a Kobold Dagger. Do I have a Kobold Dagger yet? Claws, I run, Dark Dagger, Darkstalker. Right, that was like a concept that was gonna go with. Dagger, Consta, Yggdrasil might be a summon, kind of summon, sort of. Mostly just put a lot of placeholder stuff here. A lot of basics. I remember when I had like the anime movie, and I just like used the 1 PM song as the like the little menu, because I like burned this stuff with Nero back then. This would have been like 2007, 2008. There were some movies I just done that, and the quality was always shit. This song also always makes me think of like autumn and beehives, and I can't describe why. I think I just hear that electric synth whatever going on there, and I think it's a bunch of bugs flying around. Kobold pickaxe. I'm gonna call that Kobold pickaxe for now. Or pickaxe kobold. Actually, it should be. I have to be careful actually about item names, though, is the thing. Once I name an item and it ends up in a save file, like it has to be treated as fixed at that point. Because it's never going... There's no remapping system, and they're not addressed by indexes. So unless I, like, do some kind of compilation and, like, keep indexes, like, in the same way per database or whatever, like, it's very easy for something like this to go wrong. If I change something in a later version and then someone tries to load their save file, the asset will just be null, basically. And it would actually fail to load the save, so I have to be careful here. Which is why maybe things with a super complicated name I actually don't want to make right now. Claws... I guess kobolds would actually have a lot of claws. They literally, in the concept art, have, like, digging claws. Plates. Plates are heavy. Maybe I should look at if some of these stats are set. Stats. Oh, right. And then, like, Ella power and resist. Right. Here's what matters most, actually. I believe that power and resist are all... I believe all of this is actually multiplied by default. Right. That's just how the formula works. It all adds up. So I could do stuff like metal resist and then just minus 10. You get a lot of stamina and lower agility, though. Agility is going to be a lot more interesting now because of the CTB system. So it's like you have high agility. So instead of just like getting a million crits, you actually just get to do more turns. In a really old version of Crop and Claw 2, you actually see this in the trailer, and I do need to update the trailer soon once we get some of the material in here. You actually... we're going to have more of a Final Fantasy 1 and 3 system, where if you hit something, it like does a bunch of calculations. It calculates how many hits you got, and it like does all these formulas. But once moved to the CTB system, that kind of doesn't work anymore, because multiple hits is just you taking multiple turns. If we were still like single turn based like it was going to be, then I would have done the hit system, and it would have helped like mull out the crits a little. Weapon crit effects are actually something I still need to work on, actually. And that's not going to be much. I think it's just going to be, like, a script for on crits or whatever. I don't want to make it too complicated. Just interesting little stuff. And then crits, instead of just damage, maybe they'll apply a status effect if you crit with it or something. Something fun like that. Once again, it just introduces a lot of possible nuance that you can do. Like, that one is based on something more like how Starfinder or Pathfinder 2e work in DICE. I needed a way to do... I do need to, like, apply scrolls. I need to, like, make scrolls and, like, things that you can learn. And maybe have a fixed list where, like, anyone can learn these things. Maybe, like, a global list that if you have a scroll, anyone should just have the spell. I don't know if we'll have global things like that, though. I think forcing you to have to buy a scroll for every character forces you to make more decisions, and that's a good thing. Techniques. Right. This is also going to be a fun thing, so I need to also make more items which, like, have an associated technique with it. So if you equip the item, you actually get another spell or technique. At least as an option. Techniques you have all available at once. So I could have a super armor or whatever, a shield or something that which, if you have a spell slot that you can cast with the spell involved, you can actually, let's see, where is this? I think I do need to make it where if you remove equipment, you, like, your spell list will be refreshed. So if you had a spell list with a certain spell attuned, it'll just be removed. So you can't cast it anymore. I need to, like, make sure that gets sanitized at some point, I think. I don't think it does right now. So you can, like, equip an item with, like, a really good spell and then just remove the item and replace it with something else and still have the spell attuned. That's something that has to be changed if it's not. 5 p.m. What time is it? It's almost 5 p.m. This is almost music I'm going to be listening to soon. You know what, though? I'm gonna... Let's make a relic that's like a shield. I don't know. Should be gold. A gold shield, maybe. Just for fun. Shield. Tough. Shield something. Like, I'm gonna make something where if you cast it, or if you attune to it, you can, like, gain access to, like, the spell that casts the status I mentioned earlier, which, like, gives you a resilience, which means you can't be delayed. Or a really damn good spell, which, like, lets you get resist and shield and magic all at the same time or something. Like a really powerful magic shield. See what I mean? This is, like, where the RPG Maker aspect of Gorbash finally comes in, where I could start looking at these and here in the back end, we can, like, start talking about, like, what if we had an item that does this and that, and we just put it somewhere and it's something you can find. Oh yes, gold armor, pretty, and let's get you destroyed by metal. Okay, it lets you get destroyed by metal, however, the advantage to gold armor in Crop and Claw 1 is less that and more the fact that it actually has good magic resist. It's not even a good stamina shield, relatively, and it's very heavy. But it's a very good magic shield. Or magic armor. So I could say plate gold. Change this to plate gold. And go in here. It's soft. Kind of meh. Heavy. So, like, it'll probably be, I don't know, maybe a little mid-game. We're just going to put in some numbers here. But, and here's the thing, when magic gets buffed, remember, it's not just your magic resist that's getting buffed, it's also your magic offense. So a gilded character walking around, like, you could be like a thieving chameleon who's, like, running with, like, a bunch of wacky, shiny equipment, and then you can just, like, shoot fireballs from your mouth or something. And it's going to be increased. Both Magitech and, yeah, like, that's, like, an example of, like, a kind of weird build craft you can just do when you know all these mechanics, right? Chameleon, high technique, low magic, give them gold-plated armor so that they have more magic, hope they don't get attacked by something metallic, And then shoot fireballs with Magitech or something. Like a Magitech skill especially is going to scale off of that. Because they already have high technique. So you can like look at their stats and you could find these opportunities for weird builds. That's the kind of fun that I am encouraging. Like, that's the kind of fun we go for. So I could say, like, sure, it's a really good, like, 20 plus magic, and that's really fucking good. Magic is such a good, because it's Pokemon's special stat, right? Like, the original special stat before the special split. So Generation 1, you had attack and defense, but then you had special, which does both offense and defense for that. That's like why all the stats are interesting, right? Is they all work differently. They have different calculations. So like that's a case like, okay, gold plated armor. And basically just saying gold is like magical, and that's more of a magic than a physical metal. And so I could say things like magic shield will be, do we put, I don't know if shields weapons are considered shields or shields are considered weapons. In Crop and Claw 1, shields were relics. Maybe in this case they'll have to be considered weapons. Whoops. Item. So I could say like shields dot, I'll say gold for now, and probably is not going to be what a gold shield is. This would probably be like a high status shield. This would be like a unique shield, right? Where it would have spells you can cast. So like, let's go in. We have statuses for stuff like resilience, shield, magic, reflect, whatever. I could say resist. And I could say like, do I want like a mighty guard type of thing where you just get a bunch of, you cast it once on a single target and they just get a fuck ton of buffs. Magic guard, for example. Whoops. Skill. Magic guard skill. Magic guard. We'll just like go in. It's a spell. It's gonna be, I'm gonna set it to 0 for now just to test it, because I don't have a debug system for like unlocking spell slots higher than you can cast. And I could say shield, and it's guaranteed. I could say reflect, 100% chance, guaranteed. Resilience, 1.0, guaranteed. That would be really fucking good. You just get a lot of magic buff, you get a lot of physical defense, and you can get a resistance from delay. I do need to make it so that we can actually set this for a turn limit even in here. I currently don't have anything for that. So like just one target can get that. So shield gold. I will protect you gold wherever you are right now. Give it the magic guard skill. I do need to make sure that it's possible to equip. Can equip. It's a relic, so we stick it there. We could just make it a metal spell in case there's ever any kind of scaling that can happen with that. Or like we say, like if you cast a metal spell, then like some special effect happens or whatever. Reactions. I don't know if we're going to go that far. I don't want to complicate combat too much. So I could say gold plate. Oh wait, no, I want gold shield, and which should just be, yeah, it's currently got no, I have too much junk in my inventory. Sorry, dragon fruit, you gotta go. Item. Gold ingot, nope. Should be like right here, here. So I should be able to give this to... Whoops. You tell I have to, like, figure out how we're best going to handle this. Equip. It's a relic. Item shield gold. Let me save this because I'm inevitably going to fuck something up. There's so many. Okay, guard. God damn it, Croc is too fast. He's able to just take turns multiple times in a row because he's guarding, and that takes... Guard is good because it's, it gives you a temporary stamina buff. And it just, it has like a delay of 1. It's basically skip turn, but skip turn being useful. Spells. I forgot to attune the spell. In theory, though, I should have... Yep, Magic Guard is here. I really need to move... Oops. I really need to move... Oh, hey, good. You get to immediately go. Good. Excellent. Magic Guard. You need to have the friendly flag. Okay, yeah, and look at that. Now, I just got, like, 3 different status effects from just using that. And that's a skill that I only have because... of I have the gold shield equipped. Now I think it doesn't work if I remove it. Like I think, yeah, see, like I need to make it so I can't access it still, because you see, like, it's not my spell list anymore because I don't have it equipped. But that's the kind of nonsense that this allows for. So, like, that's also, like, an aspect of the equipment building, right? Crop and Claw 1, you equip stuff, and, like, it does appear in your battle screen as techniques that you can use. So this is kind of just an improvement on that, where techniques are still automatically known, but spells are weird because you have to attune them to your spell slots. God, look at all this shit, though, that's all going on. I have to, like, clear out some of these. There's a animation bullshit that's also causing this caching issue to occur, and I need to, like, hunt that down. But yeah, that's, like, the power of this. So even if you have a not very good item, you could also just give it a technique that is really hard to get, or is, like, something that only, like, certain classes get at very high levels, so you can get access to it early, or something like that, even in exchange for one of your item slots. And even though it's not really used with the current lineup, characters, or species rather, can actually have different equipment slots. Behemoth, particularly Tecton, since he's the only playable Behemoth, actually has 1 weapon slot as opposed to 2. So there's, like, as we get on, it'll be like, Vine Viper might only have 1 weapon slot and not any armor, or something really awful. Things that make it so the species will influence how you can build a character more. That's like kind of a big rundown on the stuff. Oh, I just killed... I just killed myself. I didn't realize that was gonna kill that. Oops. Great sword in his mouth, hell yeah. Literally, that was like the thought that was going through the head with that. Tecton just is basically Sif Dark Souls running around. Or Vine Viper with a great sword. God, this face tracker just takes forever to boot. But if anything, I guess this is like a great big advertisement stream. Like, yeah, this is, like, now that I'm kind of, like, soft announcing, chat, is Vine Viper cooked? Sounds like an awesome title to draw. Like, that's, if anything, this, like, little, like, small dev stream, it hasn't really been too much deving. It's more, I guess, a little bit of a, like, a soft hype stream. Like, here what like the past like 10 months have yielded, and this is the kind of replayability and flexibility you're gonna have with making mercs and like building characters and stuff like that, as well as just kind of seeing how the game itself has come together. I think next week, like, I'm gonna try and see if I could do dev streams every Wednesday, but I don't know what exactly I'll always do. I have to kind of like preempt that. But I think we are definitely reaching the point where we're gonna start looking at like actual content stuff now. There's a few maps, and I have a few notes for where we can start building out maps. Argel's done an interior. I have to go hunt it down. It's somewhere, but I know it looks good. We'll probably like be able to start putting together interiors for towns and shops and stuff. Pednesday. I don't know. It'll be something like like Wednesday at 3 is kind of like what I was looking at. That's why today was basically 3 at my time. I'm excited to see how good / bad I can make my kobolds. Yeah, you could like just throw all sorts of weird magic items at kobolds. Kobolds, I know, like, what are the kobolds? Kobold.mon. Let's see. Yeah, their agility is like 10. That's not as high as I was expecting. Like, they have high agility. Like, that was their thing. They're not actually very strong per se, but they have high agility. High agility and CTB is really good if you have the right setup. Like, if you give them all the good equipment, and you have, like, some clever use of techniques, you can make up for weaknesses in a party. Kobolds being really fast might just make you actually really fucking good. If you have 4 kobolds, I actually don't know. Like, obviously, it's just completely guesswork at this point because there's so much balance work that has to be done. But also, you get kobold spells. And kobold, well, not spells, but they're not really innately magical. But you get, like, kobold techniques. It's like, that's the other thing that your species matters for. It's the techniques you can use. I'll find out and hopefully get some good 1k damage again. The numbers are probably going to be a little different this time. We might see higher, I'm not sure. I know that HP is no longer going to be capped at 999. Every enemy had a maximum of 999 TP and HP. Which means, yeah, if you could get like 1,000 damage on the final boss of Carp and Claw 1, you would just one-shot him. But yeah, I gotta go set up this thing now, and everything's all together. So I'm probably gonna like unwind this. Like I said, it was gonna be a very short and low stakes stream. I just wanted to at least try to make this scheduled a little more. And I have yeah, that's right. I don't remember. I didn't realize that was the enemy you used that against. I thought that was just a random enemy. But yeah, I'm gonna 1 a.m. this. What time is it in this? Oh no, it's 2 a.m. Huh? I didn't have 1 a.m. in here. Oh. Oh well. Oh, you had, but you edited it. I did not realize that was. That's hilarious. I just know you had the chameleon, the like happy face chameleon. But whatever, you guys know what some of this stuff looks like now. It's gonna be fun. I think even the demo is gonna have quite a bit of play space because of how much flexibility you have with builds. And I could imagine like people playing over the demo over and over again, just trying to speedrun that. Like, or like do little challenge builds with just that. It's gonna be a very good way to feel out how much things are working on a small scale while we like start looking at scaling up for the whole game and then the whole trilogy. But for now, I must rest this voice and get some other stuff out of the way. Good luck. Yeah.